Even though the Spanish did indeed invade Portugal on several occasions, Portugal has never been fully conquered by Spain. This may seem a little puzzling, considering how enthusiastically Spain went about acquiring new colonies. And, at the height of its powers, Spain was unquestionably mightier than Portugal in terms of both military strength and population size. Portugal was even technically under Spanish rule for a 60-year period, but conquered? Never. In the 1500s, Spain was flexing its military muscle and seizing new territories almost at will. Mexico, the Caribbean, the Philippines, and South America fell under Spanish control, making Spain enormously wealthy. And all the while, a smaller, less populated country lay unconquered, right on Spain's doorstep, surrounded by the Atlantic. To understand why, it's important to first look at how each country took shape. The Iberian Peninsula, where Spain and Portugal now sit, has seen its fair share of rulers over the centuries. The Romans claimed Iberia around 218 BC, where it remained a Roman province for roughly 6 centuries until the Visigoths arrived. In 418 AD, the Visigoths stormed Iberia, taking it from the Romans and holding control for the next 300 years. Iberia was a Visigothic stronghold but fell to the Umayyad Caliphate in the 8th century. The Umayyads brought an army of Moors from North Africa and established Muslim rule, which was fiercely resisted by the Iberians. This sparked uprisings and a series of battles, leading to civil war across the peninsula. This resistance to Muslim rule marked the beginning of the Reconquista, or Reconquest, of Iberia, which would become Spain and Portugal. The Moors controlled the south, while Christian kingdoms like Aragon, Castile, Navarre, and Leon rose in the north. In the late 9th century, King Alfonso of the Kingdom of Asturias sent a nobleman to the northwest to drive out the Moors. The nobleman was Vimara Perez, and in 868, he led Christian soldiers to victory, reclaiming the region around the Minho and Douro rivers, including the city of Portugal, from which Portugal would take its name. King Alfonso declared the newly reclaimed region the County of Portugal, and Perez was named Count of Portugal. He founded new towns, including Guimarães, today's Guimarães. Although Portugal did not officially become a country until 1143, Guimarães is often considered the cradle city where Portugal was born. By the end of the 10th century, Portugal, now a county in the northwestern kingdom of Leon, had grown in power. Cities flourished, and the population increased. In the early 12th century, Henry of Burgundy and his wife Teresa of Leon ruled Portugal, with their son Afonso Henriques succeeding them. After Henry's death in 1112, Teresa ruled alone but remarried a Galician nobleman, sparking distrust among the Portuguese. Afonso was urged to lead a rebellion, and in 1128, at the Battle of São Mamede, he defeated his mother's forces, taking control of Portugal. Afonso continued to fight in the Reconquista, achieving a famous victory at the Battle of Warraich in 1139 against the Muslim forces of Córdoba. Declared King of Portugal after the battle, Afonso established Portugal as an independent kingdom. In 1143, the Treaty of Zamora recognized this, and in 1179, the Catholic Church acknowledged Portugal's sovereignty. The Portuguese Reconquista concluded in 1249, with Christian forces reclaiming the Algarve. Portugal stretched south to the Atlantic, and in 1255, Lisbon was named the capital. In 1297, King Denis formalized Portugal's borders with the Treaty of Alcañices, which have remained largely unchanged. Entering the 14th century, Portugal focused on maritime expansion. In 1325, Afonso IV commissioned a fleet for exploration and defense, discovering the Canary Islands in 1341. Meanwhile, the Black Death delayed European exploration, but by the late 14th century, European powers, including Portugal and Spain, vied for dominance. In 1373, England and Portugal forged the Anglo-Portuguese alliance, which remains the oldest surviving alliance between two nations. In the 15th century, Portugal led global exploration, establishing colonies in Africa and the Atlantic while Spain focused on finishing its Reconquista. Spain eventually completed its Reconquista in 1492 and turned its attention to overseas conquest. With Columbus's discovery of the Americas, Spain and Portugal faced fierce competition. The Treaty of Tordesillas in 1494 divided newly discovered lands, giving Spain the Americas and Portugal territories to the east, including Brazil. In 1578, Portugal's King Sebastian I died without an heir, leading to the Portuguese succession crisis. Spain's Philip II claimed the Portuguese throne, uniting the two crowns but allowing Portugal to retain its independence. However, Spain's preoccupation with its global empire prevented any effort to fully conquer Portugal. By the 17th century, Portugal regained full independence following the Portuguese Restoration War. Despite Spain's invasions during the Seven Years' War, Portugal remained unconquered, aided by British military support. Ultimately, Spain's focus on its overseas empire, combined with Portugal's resilience, prevented a complete conquest. From the time of Vimara Pere's victory over the Moors, Portugal had demonstrated it would never be fully subjugated. Let me know if you'd like further adjustments.